Welcome.
Listener beware.
You're in for a scare.
Ooh, it rhymes. That's scary.
And then the door opens.
It's Slappy.
Right. No, I mean, none of that. Do they do that thing where, like, is it like they show you scenes from the episode after the title sequence? Or no, they show you scenes from different episodes? Is that what happens?
That's what happens in the title sequence, yeah.
Alright. So tonight, on this most scorpion nights, we will be covering
September 12th.
On September 12th, the most unholy of all nights, we will be covering the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, or the Cuckoo Clock, as I like to say.
It's exactly what I like to say.
Yeah,
I made it up. I take full credit.
Sue me. And Camp Nightmare. Question. Camp Nightmare. Name of the book, Camp Nightmare. Takes place at Camp Night Moon. Why not just call the book Camp Night Moon? Night Moon is already like a creepy enough phrase. Why do you... It's just confusing.
Well,
I thought originally that the camp was actually named Camp Nightmare. No, it's like One Day in Horrorland, the name of the place is Horrorland. They're going with a more scary version of Horrorland.
The thing is, it's always one. What they're trying to be more subtle about the twist at the end.
Really?
Yeah. They're trying to.
I don't think so.
Trying to keep it a secret.
I don't think so. So,
because otherwise it would just be a dead giveaway.
No, how would be calling the name of the book Camp Night Moon? Oh, because it's alright. No, that would not give it away, because the twist is so out of left field that no one except an insane person would have seen it coming, because it literally has nothing to do with what's going on.
And even then, there's only like a 5% chance.
No, because all the stuff gets wrapped up in the first plot twist, which is that he's at this training facility. It's not a real camp. So, by the way, there are going to be spoilers for both of those episodes. So it all gets wrapped up in there. The twist that he was not on Earth the whole time
is on the moon.
Is completely unnecessary, because it doesn't tie into anything that's happening in the plot. It's just tacked on. It's like at the end of a Twilight episode, they were like, and he was dead the whole time. And also, it took place on Venus. It doesn't make any sense. Him being an alien doesn't actually affect anything that happened in the plot.
I remember an episode of Regular Show in which they were telling a Halloween story. The two main characters died, and their boss had to fire him, but then it turned out that he was dead, and the two main characters had become the boss, and he was in the grave hallucinating all the story about him trying to fire them. It was all kind of funny.
So, for the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, or the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, as it's pronounced by every human being in the world who speaks English, I speak English, as in the one flew over the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. For our first episode of the evening, what were your first impressions of the Cuckoo Clock of Doom?
Well,
Jacob.
I didn't think breaking the head of the bird had anything to do with it moving
backwards. He didn't break the head of the bird. He twisted it.
Okay. So what did that have to do?
Well, if the head of the bird is not pointing forwards...
But I don't... it was pointing backwards?
No, if it's not pointing... Yeah, he turned it, he twisted it so that it was pointing backwards.
I thought it was pointing down.
No, he twisted it so it was pointing backwards. But, you know, because time moves forward. Of course,
right.
The world is a sphere, not a flat plane.
Time is a concept.
So forward doesn't really make any sense. The fact that the bird, like, so that explanation goes out the window, because the forward is subjective, because if someone was standing against the, like, with their back to the cuckoo clock of doom, then forward would be in the direction that he turned the head. So I really think the only thing that happened was that he, like, damaged it, and by damaging this cursed clock in some way, it made time fly backwards.
And also, at the end, you know, if you break off a number, then that year doesn't exist, right?
No. Wait, who broke off the number? Was it him? Okay, so the protagonist of this story is Michael, who is possibly...
Oh, you remember the name?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Is possibly the wimpiest... We watched these episodes a little while ago, so we may get some stuff wrong. So he's possibly the wimpiest protagonist of any of the Goosebumps books, and that's saying a lot, because people get scared at the stupidest stuff. Someone jumps out from behind the bushes. End of chapter. That's the quality.
Somebody has a dinosaur mask.
Yeah, of horror that we're. Yeah, he gets scared by his little sister, which makes him the biggest wimp in any of the Goosebumps books. Like there's a book like The Haunted Mask that's all about Carly Beth, and Carly Beth, she's like a renowned, like, scaredy cat basically, and the boys love to tease her and to scare her and humiliate her basically. But she doesn't get scared by her younger brother. She doesn't like fall and land her face in a cake. Like, he's saying that Tara is his little sister Tara, who is awful. He's saying that she's ruining his life. I think he's just kind of a bit like a terrible person. And not like terrible person as in like he's bad to other people. A terrible person is in he doesn't know how to function properly, and so his life is bad because of that.
Which is really sad.
Yeah, because if a normal person would not be scared by their younger sibling. A normal person
would just have a sort of short-handed resentment toward her.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. Yeah, look. I'm not saying his motivation doesn't make sense. I'm just saying him as a character. Also he deals with like the least amount of like horror.
It isn't. Well,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in other books, someone like, oh, mud monsters are coming. We're being cursed by a mummy. Spiders are trying to eat us. Like that's like legitimate scary things. For him, time is just moving backwards. And in his dream, in the most hilarious sequence in the entire series, he has a nightmare about the clock, his grandfather clock, chasing him down the hallway. And then the clock opens, and then his little sister's face pops out. Excuse me? This is not some like weird like experimental film we're dealing with here. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Based off of a book.
Yes,
it should be professional.
Well, that you can't expect that from them, but it's absurd. Someone looked at the script and okay, he's getting chased down the hallway. What's the scariest thing we can come up with? It's the clock. But then it opens, and instead of the cuckoo there, instead of the weird, like the cuckoo, it's not really creepy either.
It has red eyes.
Well, that's the thing. You can't make a clock scary. It just doesn't work that way. There's some things you can make scary. A clock is not one of them.
King Clock from the DC universe.
What are you talking about?
The guy who's the German guy with clocks. He's Batman's enemy.
Look, Batman
has a clock for a face.
Batman has a lot of enemies. All right.
And the Condiment King. Yeah, he's yeah. Just let the music.
It's probably the worst episode we've seen so far.
Well, I mean,
okay, look.
I mean,
there's something amazing about it.
after the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, we watched My Hairiest Adventure.
Oh, well, that's true. We also watched the one with the pianos, which was creepy, but also basically nonsensical. So,
I mean,
eh, eh.
it's quite mild compared to some stuff I have seen.
Okay, Jacob, it's Goosebumps, alright?
I think
I'm too edgy for Goosebumps. No, it was written for children. It's not actually scary.
Right.
No one's coming up with the idea that these books are like on par with horror for adult audiences or even teenage audiences. Like R.L. Stine made a series of books for teenagers called the Fear Street books. I'm sure those are scarier than these are.
The Haunting Hour was pretty scary. I only watched half of the episode.
What do you mean, The Haunting Hour?
The Haunting Hour is a series by R.L. Stine. The
Yeah.
Haunting Hour.
Yeah, he's written like multiple series of books. Like
right there, The Haunting Hour.
Wasn't just the Fear Street. Oh yeah, I know that was on Netflix. Do you think we should watch that at some point for this podcast?
Sure.
Or is it like Goosebumps? Like, what's it like? We're not watching it right now.
No, I just want to make sure.
He's checking Netflix since none of you can see. We have R.L. Stine's Monsterville Cabinet of Souls.
Okay, R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour, don't think about it.
Don't think about it. Don't think about R.L. Stine's The Haunting Hour. It'll just creep you out. Actually, it'll just be confusing. Like, how did this get made? Who gave this money? Who approved the person who gave this money? What's wrong with humanity?
Mostly ghostly.
Oh, mostly ghostly. We can watch that one after we watch The Cabinet of Souls. And then we can watch Mostly Ghostly One Night in Doom House. I don't understand how he names these things. He's like, Horrorland, Panic Park, Doom House, The Dead House. Come on, man! Come on! You've like the name Night Moon is not like subtle, but it's subtler than that.
It's not subtle enough to not make you think, hey, they must be on the moon.
Yeah, it's not like it's like, oh, we're gonna live in the town of Dead Falls, kids. Pack your bags, we're going to Dead Falls. It'll be a rip-roaring trip. Who goes to Dead Falls and doesn't expect something bad's gonna happen?
Travel through the Cave of Hopelessness.
Yeah.
Why is it called the Cave of Hopelessness? Well, it was discovered by Theodore Hopelessness. Although that has nothing to do with the name. You see, he was also the first to be murdered by the tunneling horror.
Yep.
All credits to Fox.
What hadn't Fox taken them off of the air by that time, and the movies were being produced not by Fox?
Who were producing the
movies? I don't know who produced the movies, because it came back on maybe Fox produced the movies, but then the show came back on Comedy Central. Anyway, the point is...
Oh yeah, Comedy Central.
The Cuckoo Clock of Doom is one of the worst episodes. The protagonist, he's awful. He's the worst.
Right.
He's like... He's gonna grow up to have no spine. He's never gonna get a good job. He's never going to like fight for anything.
I mean, I think traveling back in time to never having been born at all is the best thing that would ever happen.
I don't play at the end of the episode. Oh, his sister's been erased from time, and they're like, yeah. He's like, I'll go back. I'll go back for her eventually. Maybe one day, so it's ambiguous. Which, is kind of creepy. Like, that's probably the scariest thing in the episode, is the thought that, like, a child wakes up one day and their younger sibling is completely gone, and they go, these are slippers. Why are you... I'm going to wear them on top of your bed.
They're on my bed!
Yeah, they're not dirty. They're slippers. Now, the scariest part of the episode is probably that he wakes up and he's like, my younger sister is gone. I never liked her anyway.
Let's think about the time pattern.
Like like okay, I don't blame him because she's an awful person. Obviously, she's probably like there are a lot of like awful younger siblings in the Goosebumps books.
Yeah.
She's probably the worst. Okay, so
it's time pattern.
I want to ask you a question. Does the time travel element in this story make any kind of sense?
No, I think it's one of the worst time travel stories ever that I have.
I'm trying to think of something worse. I'm drawing a blank. No, what do you mean, like the time pattern? Like
okay, the first slide.
Yeah, the first. Ooh, slide,
got a slippery slide.
Yeah, the theme for Slider starts playing. Imagine a million worlds
in which every possible universe. One where the Nazis won World War II, where Texas took over the West Coast. One where Mexico took over America.
Yeah, a lot of these have to do with stuff like long past, like probably with like 17th, 18th century stuff.
One where all Los Angeles is a prison.
That's a lot of alternate history. All right, go ahead. What were you
First slide is 3 days.
No, it's 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, first he goes back 3 days,
and
then he goes back.
Wait. And when you watch the first slide, you think maybe he's just going to repeat the same day, like Groundhog Day, and I was fine with that.
Yeah.
Even though it was derivative.
When did Groundhog Day come out?
I don't know.
This book was released in 1995. I don't know when the episode aired. Cuckoo, Clock of Doom.
That was in 1993.
Okay, so yes, so this came out after. Oh, it was the same year. Oh, they were making the episodes the same year that the books were coming out. Okay, so yeah, that would have been derivative. Well, like, okay, so like, let's say you're R.L. Stine, right?
Right.
You're getting paid to make books. You know, you make one book every 4 months.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but you know, and you just, you know, you toss them out there, you know, you see what sticks, right? And so you're under a contract where you have to make a scary book.
Mm-hmm.
Simultaneously, you want to make a plot about a boy messing with the cuckoo clock and getting sent back in time. How do you make that scary? Because you could do I guess the Groundhog's Day thing would be I mean, like the only scary thing you could come up with was, oh, you'll be unborn.
It will suffer from a fate worse than death.
Yes.
3 life, then death.
Yeah. You'll be born again, and then you will cease to exist.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, what was I gonna say?
Yeah. Time tales are tales as old as time.
So first he goes back 3 days, then he goes back 6 years? 5 years?
6 years to when he was 6.
Well, but wasn't he turning 13?
He was turning 12.
I thought he was turning 13. Anyway, so it probably says in the synopsis, let me look at the... how old was he? 12. Yeah, he's a 12-year-old boy. Okay.
All right, yeah. So then he went 6 years on his 6th birthday.
Then he went 6 years on his 6th birthday.
Now, who got a clown?
Yeah. And he has the exact same friends that he had when he was 6 years. This episode likes to do a lot of cute stuff with time travel. Like his parents, they like have the same habits that they had 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like where the mother checks his head and he's like, it doesn't seem like he has a fever. Like that, she's constantly doing that. That's like the only thing she does. And then like he has the same friends who, by the way, terrible friends.
Yeah.
If I fall and my head and my face hits a cake, I would hope that my friends would not all like suddenly laugh. Like I don't think
I also hope that my sister would not trip me so that my face lands in my birthday cake.
Right. Right,
so that no one can eat my birthday cake.
I understand, like, people laugh at stuff like...
And then I have to wash my face from my birthday cake.
Stuff can be funny and also cruel at the same time, but, like, that's not, like, how real people act. They don't, like, see someone trip and fall, and then they're like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, I mean, they could have...
The Barney theme is playing on the instrumental.
The Barney theme?
Yeah, it's playing on
you want me,
Star Wars.
Happy family.
I don't know. This was a mistake, obviously. I said that we didn't need music, and now we're doing it. Now we're here.
Daddy,
do you have 5 notifications or 3 notifications inside of your screen? Oh, it's 5. I keep looking at it, it looks like 3 from what I'm stating, but it's 5, actually. Okay, so... what was I going to say? What was I going to say? Yeah, so terrible episode, probably. Okay, I was thinking we could, like,
the notifications.
We could rate these episodes based on, like, three things. So, oh, by the way, just to give you a little, I guess I'll give you a little trivia on it before we rate them. So, apparently the Tara is named after a girl who came to one of R.L. Stine's signings.
Yeah.
R.L. Stine cites this book as being one of the least frightening books in the Goosebumps franchise. You fooled me! Alright.
I admire his honesty, though.
Yeah, look, the guy knows... Yeah, I mean, a lesser writer would try and stand up for this book. A better writer never would have written it in the first place.
Right in that sweet spot.
Yeah. You got the, I wonder how many people in listening will get the reference.
Maybe like a whole 2 people.
Yeah, a whole 2 people. A whole 2 people. Alright, so there's nothing else like really interesting about this story. Obviously, it seems like they condense them a lot. Like, there are more details here when I look at the synopsis of the book. Oh, he knocks the year off when he's twisting the head back. So I don't get how this works. So he knocks the year off, and that's the year that Tara was born. So does the year no longer exist? Nobody like opens up a yearbook and they go and they look and they're like, hey, wait a second.
I think there's supposed to be a number between those 2 numbers.
This book is blank in these 3 pages. This everyone in the world living in a feud. I don't understand. It's insanity. It's like what rules are you creating, R.L. Stine? You madman. Does this clock literally control all of time, or is it specifically like happen to Tara? Because he knocks the piece off, so shouldn't he get erased or something?
How many?
You know what, kid? I'll give you this one, and then he got rid of his sister because she was born on that year. It's like the haywire effect of him turning the thing backward. It was him like de-aging, so. Like he was affected him.
The year that he was born in. He was born before.
Okay, but that doesn't matter though. Like, shouldn't he have lost that year, not Tara? I don't get it.
He would be a year younger.
Why didn't they just have it? Why didn't they just like imply that Tara messed with it on her own and got erased that way?
Maybe they had to reset the year, so it had to be reestablished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything would go back to that time and start all over.
It's crazy. It's just what I'm saying. It's like okay, 1, the time travel doesn't make any sense. 2, I don't understand what evil entity lives inside the clock, but it is a highly like the wrath that it just flings around is like random in its reaction.
Yeah.
You get me? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Also, what was with that creepy hobo guy?
Oh,
he was walking to he was going to the antique store, and the creepy guy was like, "Hey, kid,
you got the time?
You got the time?
You got the time?"
He only exist there because there was a minimum requirement of creepy people in the episode, and they're like, "There's haven't been any creepy people yet. We have to juice this one up. We gotta."
Sorry, you failed the Goosebumps test.
When you're making a TV show, you have to, like, if R.L. Stine knew this was his least scary book, why didn't he suggest that they adapt a different book? How does this just... Oh, there's so many problems.
I mean, maybe he doesn't have nearly as much control as we claim.
Oh, yeah, no, the studio executives, they took it out of his... It was out of his hands. They wrenched his baby away from him. Alright. Okay. What a lousy sellout of a book. Alright. So first things first, child acting. How do you rate the child acting? I think the girl who played Tara, well done. Everyone else, yeah, probably not.
So, Michael was...
Kyler? What did you name Kyler?
Kyle and Tyler.
Oh. Okay. So, Michael. Yeah, Michael. How was he?
I wouldn't say he underacted, nor did he overact.
He wasn't very well. Like, how scared can you look when you're running from when your direction is you're running from a cuckoo clock? Run! Like how scared can you pretend to be? Also, like, okay, well, I guess we should also be rating the acting of the child, the younger version of him.
Right. Yeah.
I think that 6-year-old child did a better job than the 12-year-old.
Yeah, he properly played a 12-year-old trapped inside a 6-year-old.
Yes, that 6-year-old was amazing. So you know what? You know what? The child acting in this episode may be better than normal, like average.
3 out of 4.
3 out of. I thought we were rating on a 5 system.
Right, because the Terror, the 6-year-old, and then the baby.
Oh, you were saying 3 out of 4. No, I don't know about the baby. I feel like the baby lost me at some point.
All right, 2 out of 4.
Okay, so I'm giving the episode a 3 out of 5. What are you doing in child acting?
2 out of 4.
No, you can't rate it that way.
So I suppose that's 2.5 out of 5.
2.5 out of 5. All right. Okay. All right. How funny was the episode?
It was hilarious.
No.
Okay, let's.
Well, we should define this first. Are we saying intentionally funny, or blend those two things together?
One of the only intentional jokes I remember is the kid
popping the balloon. Kid?
The kid popping the balloon when the clown came up to him. Oh, hi, kid. Yeah. How are you? And I thought that was cheeky, nice. It was pretty fun. So it was a positive.
Okay, so 3 out of 5 on the funny. And then scariness.
Give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, well, it was hilarious out of in how weird and stupid it was. Yeah. Okay, so scariness. 0 out of 0 because it never had a chance.
0.
It was never going to be fun. It was never going to be scary because it was a clock. If they had made it like a Groundhog's Day situation, do you think they could have injected more scariness into that idea?
Well, yeah.
There could have been like some monster looking around.
Well, the thing about being trapped in the same day forever is that you lose the sense of any value in things.
Okay, but
you know it's going
but I don't think like the 1990s live-action Goosebumps adaptation was like a place to like examine existential depression.
But I think that's one of the best ways they could have gone in terms of scaring.
Yeah, but it's for kids. They're not gonna
screw kids.
No,
especially 90s kids.
Well, yes, they screw you 90s kids. So like 12-year-olds. I'm sure there are some 12-year-olds who are like, oh, this is really interesting. I think the most it's not going to work though. Surely, like you can't go from last episode they're fighting a sponge. In this episode they fight I don't know.
Father Time,
cosmic sense,
Deus Ex Machina,
disappointment. I'm just saying, I don't think that would have worked. You have to inject like some kind of horrific element into it.
That's why I'm saying, you know.
Like have the clock. Like I'm going to tell this. There's a viewer where you choose the scare. Like you know, how at Goosebumps they made like choose your own adventure type books, basically.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, oh, you can choose to get sent into the past or sent into the future. And if you go to the future, it's this weird, like, dystopian school. And I forget what it is in the past, but basically those are, like, the two options in the book. And that book sounded like it would be cooler and creepier than this one, which is the one that inspired.
What if he gets sent into the future in which he's is in his mid-30s, living in the suburbs with his 5 kids?
And his sister is still ruining his life. She still like stops by every now and again and like hits him in the face with a pie. He has like a fear of cakes, an irrational fear of cakes. His life is just a mess. He's not going anywhere in the workplace. He never got his bachelor's degree. Yeah, that's the true horror. Then he has to look forward to that when he gets back to the normal time.
No, but I can change this, right? I'm able to change it.
And then you just end the episode on that like Twilight Zone has played like it's not fair. It's not fair. Like that. Yeah. I think we've actually made this episode scary. Just expand on the character of Michael and go into why he's such a loser. Seriously, I can't go back into this.
We're such great people.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so next episode. An improvement? Question mark? Exclamation point? Second question mark?
Let's exclude the second plot twist.
Okay, yes.
It was okay.
Okay, so if they never said the whole thing takes place on the moon, would the 2 episodes? This was a 2-parter. It's about what's his name?
It's about Zekridge.
No, his name is stop coming up with weird 90s kids' names. Alright? The planet Billy. Oh yeah, Billy. Alright, so it's about Billy. He gets sent to Camp Night Moon.
You left the song during the group singing Billy.
The name is Larry.
Classic Larry.
Yeah, Larry. Possibly the greatest character in all of Goosebumps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you should go find him.
Well, he isn't here, so maybe
he's somewhere else. I'm sorry, I accidentally hit your nose.
Yeah, you almost got it up there.
Yeah, it was actually, I got bizarrely close. Larry, yeah. Honestly, okay, so, alright. Right off the bat, child acting in these episodes.
Yes, I can't feel my arm. I think I'm gonna die. Walk it off.
Just walk it off.
Ew, don't put that on me. Don't you have a medic? Do you think that this is a camp of losers and idiots? This is a camp for men. And women on the other camp.
Yeah, because there's a second camp. But they're not like,
girls have fun.
Plot twist. So Billy's sent to Camp Night Moon, even though he looks like he's 16. So I don't know what the hell he's doing going to this camp. But like,
early growth spurt.
Yeah, early growth spurt.
Every 90s kid.
Yep. Well, that's just how they grow on the moon. You know, like that's what a 13-year-old looks like on the moon.
Especially in the moon swamps.
I don't understand. Like. You have this great setting. It's like they're at this creepy camp, and there are these weird animals that live in the woods.
Yeah.
Like in the book, I read the first few chapters of the book. In the book, there are these. They have the monsters. Like there's not like one monster. There's like multiple of these like weird cat dog things that like lurk around, and they have to like a guy has to like scare them off with like a shotgun or whatever when he comes to pick up the kids. Also in the book, it made more sense that they were on the moon because the camp was at a desert and not in the middle of the northwestern forest.
Was it a cold desert?
okay, look, it wasn't realistic. I'm just saying it took place in the desert, all right?
Yeah.
It was a creepy setting, right? They have this great setup where he's at this creepy camp and bad stuff keeps happening, but like it's like they don't even go into like the monster thing. It's not like, oh, like I guess kids getting chased by a monster at a camp would have been too cliche for R.L. Stine, so he had to throw in that kids keep disappearing and no one will believe Billy. So it's this whole like second paranoia plot going on, and then to complicate matters further, there is a second camp where the girls are at, and the girl there is being hunted. And also, there's a cursed bunker. It's like he just took 3 different plots and threw them together. And he never went to any of them.
Why can't we enter the forbidden bunker?
Because it's forbidden, Billy.
Yeah, Billy.
Okay, Uncle Al, also great character. You know what? These episodes, they're made by Uncle Al and Larry. Well, I just put that phone up there as a practical joke. They won't run power lines out here.
Put it as a practical joke.
Wait, so Uncle Al, you bought like a phone, a public phone and receiver thing,
and then you dismantled the wiring.
No, you just like you buried the wires. Obviously, they just don't go anywhere. And then you like, this is a lot of work to go to for a practical joke
that nobody would find funny.
Yeah,
because they're in a secluded area. Of course, they want to call someone.
Look, if you want to tell a story about a creepy camp that has a forbidden bunk and a monster, go ahead, right ahead. If you want to tell a story about a kid who goes to a camp and then bad things start happening, but the camp counselors refuse to be of any help and they keep like obscuring the truth and claiming that campers weren't there, tell that story. You can't do all these different, like, I understand why they split into 2 parts simultaneously. You still don't get any like good, like the plot twist is not satisfying.
So the kid
because it removes everything that's happened so far, and the entire mystique is just lost.
So the kid who got hit by a baseball,
yes,
he apparently didn't have a concussion,
yeah,
because it was all a test.
Right. How did he get hit by a fake baseball?
The baseball-shaped dent in the bus.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But these episodes were better than the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. I wish they had just make them less weird. This is like so he had 3, I believe he had 3 camp stories. So there was Camp Nightmare, which came first.
Yeah.
There was
Camp Jelly Jam.
Oh no, okay, so there are 4. So there's that one. There's Camp Jelly Jam. There's Camp Nightmare, Camp Jelly Jam. So the first one's Camp Nightmare, right? It's just called. Is it called Welcome to Camp Nightmare?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is called. Is it just called Camp Jelly Jam?
I'm pretty sure.
Camp Jelly Jam. The horror at Camp Jelly Jam, because they're named like horror movies. They can't have like a short title. So
right.
The horror at Camp Jelly Jam. Then there's the Ghost Camp Cold Lake Ghost or whatever, and that one's about like the ghost of a drowned girl in this lake at this camp.
And if you watch her video, you'll die in 7 days.
No, it's not. What are you talking? The ring, Jacob. Sailors had like stories about drowned ghost people for a long time, including younger women, I'm sure. And there's Camp Ghost.
Camp Ghost.
Yeah. Or
is it
just
Camp
called
for Ghosts?
Ghost Camp?
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say it involves some poisonous fog.
Poisonous fog?
Yep.
Of course, poison can't affect ghosts.
No, it cannot. Or one would assume. I don't know. The rules in R.L. Stine's cinematic universe are weird. Like it's like, oh, we can defeat them with laughter. We can defeat them with water. Stuff
Who
happens.
decides what's good or bad?
Yeah, I don't like what mad god designed this universe. R.L. Stein, there's your answer. It's like, oh, this thing, if nobody scrubs it, it'll die on its own. How did it live this long? I don't understand.
A supernova is pretty deadly if you're near it. So would that be considered a bad thing? I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about going back to the sponge thing,
Yeah.
as far as the morality of the sponge. Like, oh, bad things.
Does the sponge decide what's good or bad?
But the sponge causes bad things, but it feeds on bad things? Okay.
And if you put it in the ground, it can make dead things.
Yes, that's totally another, like, kind of
It has like a 3-mile range.
You're just like tossing it in the
Looks
sea.
like an ordinary sponge. And if you give it away, you die.
Alright, so
What's the range with that? How long does it take before you die?
also how do you die? Because a life with that thing seems like it might not be worth it. Send this to 5 people, or send sponges to 5 people. Are they playing Mewey on this radio station now?
This isn't the radio station.
Yeah, okay, the YouTube video, but the YouTube video seems like it's playing. Yeah, like
Day of Chaos, horror, Kevin McLeod.
Yeah, is this all by Kevin
Leon.
McLeod? Because this particular thing.
Yeah, this whole
playing right
playlist
now.
by
I've
Kevin McLeod.
heard this. Right, but I've heard this song in creepypastas. And creepypastas typically use music from this one guy named Mewey, who created a bunch of classical, like, piano music for creepypastas.
I once
basically.
dove
It was
into the
royalty-free.
creepypasta fandom, which was...
Oh no!
Regretful.
Don't go into the fandom. It's fine to listen to creepypastas, but don't get involved in the fandom.
It was so dumb.
Fandom is yes.
They just all sat down and ate dinner together. Why? Why?
Yeah, it's like it erases the purpose that the creepy stories had in the first place. Also, it idealizes a lot of like terrible stories, which is bizarre to me. All right, so what do you think about this episode? Or episodes, I guess. Aside from Larry and Uncle Al and plotting
Ratings.
Okay, yeah, child acting. We're going straight into the
Child acting.
straight into the good stuff. All right.
I suppose, despite the poor dialogue...
I think the child acting in this episode was probably better than it is normally.
Alright, yeah. So,
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Okay.
The funniness.
How funny was this episode? Well, it had some great
Saber's
wisecracking ways.
Saber's hungry.
Yeah. What the hell, man? It's not like a trope of like, oh, the person who's sick is like they can see the bad thing that's coming. It's like so weird and disjointed because it doesn't make any sense. I guess it does make sense because he's an actor and he's trying to scare Billy. Also, by the way, if I send my child to a camp to make them think that like they might be going crazy, like I'm a terrible parent. The parents here are terrible.
Well, you know,
as terrible as the parents of Michael and Tara, I'm not sure, but they're definitely terrible.
It's different over there.
Oh, at the moon. Yeah, they have to raise them. They have to raise them strong. Okay, so how funny was the episode?
4 out of 5.
I don't think it was as funny as the last one.
Okay, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we could do a 3.5.
3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, there we go.
Scariness.
Scariness. Was there at any point during these 2 episodes that you found like legitimately creepy? Because I think the scene where like the letters are like blowing through the wind, I think that's like a cool scene.
Yeah, I thought it was suspenseful. So
yeah,
for 2.5 out of 5.
Right. I mean, none of these episodes are going to really be scary, but like, did it achieve at like at being the Goosebumps version of scary, like being slightly creepy, unsettling, maybe.
Yeah, unsettling.
Unsettling, yeah. I don't know if I don't know. I'm finding it hard to rate it higher. Well, we've watched more episodes past this. Have we watched any episodes that we would consider scary than these episodes?
The piano one was scary.
Okay, but like the piano one was that was like a
that
weird.
Was surreal.
Yes, that was okay. That one was scary. Simultaneously, I don't think we're gonna have another piano one because that one was like stuck out like a sore thumb amongst the other episodes we were watching.
You're saying that Goosebumps hasn't stuck out like a sore stick out like a sore thumb?
No, I'm saying like that episode didn't. That episode stuck out amongst the other episodes of Goosebumps because it was legitimately disturbing, as opposed to the other ones.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's weird how we've been rating like. Well, because what's I don't know, because none of them are like really gonna be scary, are they? Like we've seen them. They're
what about Slappy?
I mean, I guess it can get scarier than this. I would give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I feel like if we give this a 2.5, we painted ourselves into a corner.
Wait.
Because every rating for scariness is going to be like 1.5, 2.
Why would a wooden object need to take steroids?
3. What are you talking about? Like, are you talking about the book cover where he's sitting on the bed with one arm, like one hand pointed towards the other arm, so it looks like he's injecting his arm? That's for the second book, Jacob, not the first one. I think they do the second book first in the TV series. It's really weird. Because, yeah, I think they do the second one first. Maybe? Maybe not? Maybe they do. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.5. 3 or 5. You know what? No, it's not that scary. Because none of these are going to be that. Okay, in terms of Goosebumps scariness,
let's keep the rating number, though.
What do you mean?
Even though none of them are probably going to hit 5, we should just keep it at 5.
Okay, but I'm still gonna give it a 0.5. It's gonna be a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
But none of them are gonna hit 5. So, like I guess the piano one is a 4. Then.
Right. I mean, the
best we can hope for, I guess.
The average rating should affect what the rating of individuals. So the minimum number.
Yeah, I guess I'll give this a 3 because I can think of some ones that are 3.5s and 3.5s and 4s. All right, so there we go. That's Camp Nightmare or Nightmare. Welcome to Camp Nightmare. Welcome to Camp Nightmare.
Also, we have explosives equipped to defeat this werewolf. But you know, we're not going to just
don't worry.
The werewolf.
That mine's if you try and leave, you'll just trigger one of the mines. Blow up. You'll deserve it.
Don't go near it. It's already taken 30 lives. Well, why don't you put it down? This is a civilized society we developed on the moon.
This is one of the few books in the original series in which Tim Jacobus did not sign the artwork. So Tim Jacobus, I'm guessing he made the original artwork, which kudos to you, Tim Jacobus, because you provided 50% of the actual creepiness in the books by just the cover, basically. But no illustrations, just the cover. Although it's the 9th book in the series, it is the first release to establish a monthly release schedule. Following the book, the original series would have one new book released every... Oh, wait, he was making them per month? This is even less work than I thought it was. He was just pumping them out. I mean, I knew that, but I thought it took him slightly longer than that.
I mean, Jonathan Colton wrote one song per week for a year.
Songwriting is different from book writing, all right?
Is it though?
Yes.
Yes, yes, it is.
Very.
You can get away with a lot of stuff in songwriting.
Yeah, like rhyming a word with itself. You can't do that in books.
Because you don't need to rhyme.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing.
Unless you're designing epic poetry.
Doing the same thing in a narrative is frowned upon, because
doing the same thing in a song is called the chorus or the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically all music. I mean, most music is repetition. I mean, because if it was just like a series of like random sounds, we wouldn't like it. It's because it has repetition.
That's probably why my songs aren't very catchy, because I avoid repetition as much as possible. Where's one?
All right. We should wrap this. Man, I don't want to look at your songs right now.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good song.
Sure. Yeah, I believe you. All right. Do you have anything else you want to say about?
Punch that like button.
About the Camp Nightblood or the Cuckoo Clock of Doom? I'm sorry, the Cuckoo Clock of Doom.
Okay, well, let's just end this with...
That child is going to be a sociopath.
Let's just give it
give
it a great...
Born again, get it? Born again? Right. My name is Larry.